The Beretta tip-up barrels, let's check them out. Beretta has been in business for almost 500 years. It's the oldest existing firearm company that's still in business. They produce a line of all kind of different firearms, from shotguns, rifles, handguns. And one thing that Beretta does, though, that has really been popular is their tip-up barrel series. It's a small little mouse gun, pretty much. And this is the Model 21. They've been making this for decades. In fact, I've had this particular Beretta 21 for 35 years. They're just great little guns. And one of the features that really attracts a lot of people is this little tip-up barrel. It pops open, you can drop a round in here, load your magazine, put it in, and because this gun is so small, you don't have to rack the slide, but you can rack it if you need to. Now, these come in mouse gun calibers, from 22 short all the way up to 32 ACP. Now, I have a collection of these. I love these guns. They're just a lot of fun to shoot. They're not necessarily the most recommended for self-defense, but in their day, they were carried a lot for self-defense. And it goes all the way from 22 or 25 to 22 short. And then we have the Tomcat, which is in 32 ACP. Now, the Tomcat in 32 ACP and the Bobcat in 22 long rifle are still being produced, but the remainder of these guns are no longer in production and honestly have become really prized collector's items. And while some of these I got from Nate over at Gun Zone Deals, a lot of these I got on Gun Broker. Guys, here's my tip-up barrel collection. This is something that I just love. I'm a big fan of mouse guns. I love to collect them. It kind of goes back from just the tactical self-defense to really small guns, especially guns that were carried, years ago, before the .380 really got small, and now the 9mm. And so this was a gun that a lot of people carried for concealed carry, especially when concealed carry wasn't legal. And then we're going to go through each type and we're going to talk about them. I'm going to do some shooting in between and just give you an idea of what these are about. They're great little guns. They are becoming more and more collectible, and the price is going up. Here, the Tomcat, it's still in production, so you can get that. It's in 32 ACP. And also the Model 21A. These are in 22. I believe they're still making the 25. I'm not really positive. They did have them listed on the Beretta website, but from what I hear, the only thing I've seen available are the 22 long rifles. And then we have the Beretta 950 BS. This is actually the first little Beretta tip-up barrel that I purchased, and that was over 30 years ago. This one's in 25 ACP, but they come in other models. My brother bought this one in about the same time in 22 long rifle, and it's the Model 21A. But this is, again, what they're still producing. Now we're going to start out with the basic Model 950. These were introduced in 1952. And these are actually the 950 BS. We're going to look at a B model as well. And these come in 22 short and 25 ACP. Now with the 25 ACP, you get 8 rounds plus 1 in the barrel. And then you have, with the 22 short, you only have 6 rounds and then 1 in the barrel. Now with the 950, it's a very small pistol. These are exactly the same size, and they function pretty much the same. We have a tip-up barrel, and it has this little lever. You just pop it, it opens up the barrel. Drop in a round, close it, load your magazine, put it in, and you have 8 rounds plus 1. And then we have a small safety right here when the hammer's in the rear position. It is small, it's very tactile, it's very easy to hit. You have a mag release right down here at the bottom. It is recessed, but it drops those mags out pretty good. Now, one other thing is this is a single action pistol, and that means to fire the handgun, you have to pull the hammer back. Now, you can have the hammer back and have it in the rear position, but these are not necessarily drop safe. So you want to really be careful. You can drop this. In fact, I heard a story one time where a guy had one and he was in a bathroom, didn't know what to do. He put it on his leg and then it fell, hit the hammer, and it fired and it shot him in the rear. So be careful with these little small pistols. Even though they do have that safety, I mean, this should keep it from falling, but you want to be sure. Now, it has a little bit of a beaver tail right here, which allows you to get your hand right here, and it keeps and mitigates some slide bite. But if you have really big hands, this is going to be a very small pistol to keep in your hand. Now, with the 22 short, it's exactly the same. All the same features, tip-up barrel. It makes it really easy to load that. And then again, if you're going to fire it, you got to pull the hammer back, and then you can fire. And so really, it makes it somewhat safe. But again, guys, that hammer drop safety is just not there. So you got to be very careful. Has the nice plastic Beretta grips. They've offered a number of different type grips for these, even wood grips. And there are a number of different models. This one actually, these are the blued models. They've now gone to a Bruton finish, which is a matte finish. But these are beautifully blued. All the metal parts, the slide, of course, and the barrel are steel. And then we have an aluminum alloy frame, so it makes it really lightweight. And then the trigger guard is just kind of a wire trigger guard. They also made a nickel-plated version in the 950, and they also make what they call the Elite version, which has gold accents. So if you're looking for something kind of fancy, that's definitely one to check out. But I personally love this really nice blued finish on here. And to disassemble, it's really easy. You just take your barrel, tip it up, and then pull it all the way around, and then take your slide, pull the hammer back, and just pull it loose. These are your recoil springs right here, and you got to be careful because they can injure and damage the grips. There's some little slots right here, so when you're putting it back in, you just get it in the slots, put it back. It's really easy to disassemble. Here I have just the 950B. This is without the frame safety, and this was their first model. When I bought this, I thought that it was nickel plated, but someone took it and just took all the finish off. So, it just has a great example of not having that safety. I really would like to have a nickel version of this because obviously that nickel version is really nice, but they're very expensive and they're hard to find. This has more of the original grips. It doesn't have as much of the palm swell. So it's a really thin grip, but still shoots the same. You just don't have that safety. And you can see that the magazine release is a little different. It is checkered, and it is steel. So a little more difficult to get out. This is an older gun, and I picked this one up on Gun Broker, which I did a couple of these. Now, this is the 950 Bs Minx, and this has the 3.4-inch barrel, which the others have a 2.4-inch barrel. So it's still a very small gun, but this one is only in 22 short. Now, one thing about 22 short is that it just fires. I mean, these are very reliable little handguns. And for years, I didn't pick up a 22 short because I just thought it would be real underpowered and it probably would have a lot of problems. But we have shot a lot of 22 short through these, and I would recommend good quality 22 short like CCIs. They just function really well. In fact, it's really surprising. One thing about all of these pistols, but especially the 22 short, is that it is so mild with the recoil. It's almost like you're not firing. It's so light. The 25 ACP has just a touch more, but it's really simple to shoot. These guns at the range, I mean, they're just a lot of fun. And they're tiny, and you can see as I've got them in my hand, all you can pretty much see is the slide coming back. But they're just really fun little soft shooting guns. And to me, this is a great gun to take out for first-time shooters. It is a small handgun, and so it's just really easy. The recoil is extremely light. And again, it's really easy to load. Just like on this Minx. I mean, you have your barrel come up, you drop it in, you close it. Now, you can rack the slide, and you can enter around that way. But it does not have a last round bolt hold open. But again, the 22 short only carries 6 rounds, while the 25 ACP carries 8 rounds. And the sights on the 950, small little notch, and we have just a blade at the front. So you can actually get on target with these, but you really need to be close. These have been discontinued for a number of years, and I picked up these 3 at Gunbroker, just found them. In fact, I've looked for a long time for the Minx version. These are considered the Jetfire. And guys, prices vary all over the place. With this version here, I think I paid $800 for it. They're not cheap. The other models are more plentiful, and you can find them. And typically, you can get them for around, $350 to $400, just according to, what the seller is willing to take for them. Also, a lot of times at pawn shops, things like that, these turn up. Next, we have the Model 21A. Now, this is in 22 long rifle. It holds 7 rounds, which one in the chamber or the tip-up barrel. This one's also in 22 long rifle as well. The Enox version is a stainless steel, and these are currently made. In fact, I got this one from Gun Zone Deals. They do make the Covert model, which has a threaded barrel. You can put some really small suppressors on here, and they are a lot of fun. And that's one that's on the list. And then you have the Model 21A that's in 25 ACP. And this one I picked up on Gunbroker. Now this one has the 8 plus 1, and so it gives you 1 extra round, but it is 25 ACP. Now most of them now are coming with these plastic type grips, but the blued finish they've kind of gone away with a more matte Bruton finish, which is typical for Beretta. This again has the tip-up barrel, so load one in and you load up your magazine and you're ready to go. Then again, you can actually rack that and load one in. This makes it really easy too for those that have trouble racking a slide. They can just tip up that barrel and load the round. This one does come with the safety. I believe the Model 20, before they added the A, had no safety here. These were introduced in 1984, and it has the 2.4-inch barrel. And then it's just, very similar to the 950, except that this is a double single action pistol. So I can pull the hammer back and fire it just like I can with the 950, or I can bring that hammer back with the trigger. And then I can fire that round, and then subsequent shots I can fire it. Now the sights on the Model 21A are very close. It's just a small little notch, and then we have just a blade at the front. And again, guys, this is really for close-up and personal. It does have the nice little beaver tail right here, so it gets you a good grip on it. And it does protect your hand, but if you have really meaty hands, that hammer can come back and bite you. Of course, this has the plastic grips, and they did offer it in the wood grips. One thing also, guys, is there's still grips available. They're still producing different grips, and you can get all kind of different things, even plastic or rubber grips for these. But the recoil on these are so mild. I really like the Model 21A because it gives you a little more grip than the 950. And you can see it's just a larger type grip. Some of that has to do with the double action, but a lot of it has to do with just enlarging that grip to make it more shootable. One thing with the Model 21 with 22 long rifle is you want to shoot good quality ammo through it. Some people have reported they've had a lot of issues with it. We have not. We put CCI mini mags, but then we've shot a lot of the Fiocchi high velocity, and they just function. They function very well. We have not had any issues with the Beretta Model 21A, and especially not the Model 21A and 25 ACP. It's just a little bit more reliable. As you can see, the 22's fallen down, and that can happen, but 25 ACP seems to hold up a little bit better and is more reliable. But guys, they're very pointable. They're a lot of fun at the range. The recoil is nil, and you have a decent solid grip on the 21 over the 950. So it's very pointable, a lot of fun to shoot. And guys, this would go great in an ankle holster, or even as a backup if you wanted to carry it. Because like they say, 22 long rifle is better than a sharp stick. When it comes to 25, it's about the same. But I'm not going to recommend these for self-defense. Next is the Beretta Tomcat, and it's model 3032, and it's in 32 ACP. You have 7 rounds plus 1 in the chamber or 1 in the barrel. This one does come in an Enox version as well, but this one has the Bruton matte finish on it. And all the Berettas that are currently listed, the Model 21A, it also comes in this finish. but the stainless steel finish to me is a little better than the carbon steel pistols. It seems the slides seem to hold up a lot better. And over the years, they've had to beef these slides up a little bit. They have had some issues with cracking early on, and so they've really beefed these up. These were introduced in 1996, and they're currently available. One thing about 32 ACP is there is a lot of different self-defense jacketed hollow point options. And so if you want to go with something with more self-defense capability, you can. Of course, a lot of people like the full metal jacket because of the velocities and the ballistics of a 32 ACP. 380 ACP is actually considered the minimum for self-defense caliber as far as an effective self-defense caliber. But a lot of guys like to carry these because they're so small and they carry them as a backup. And I'm sure there's some that carry it as a full-on concealed carry. It's just a little bulldog. It's really thick, but yet in your hand, it gives you a nice grip. And out of all of them, of course, this has more recoil, but it's still very manageable. Easy to shoot, very reliable, and we've had a lot of fun with these. I mean, this is a great little gun to carry, and it does up the game from 22 or 25, and definitely 22 short, to a more effective self-defense round. But I would definitely kind of move that up to 380. And again, we do have that tip-up barrel, which this one's kind of funny because it bounces. But it's more of a large barrel, but you can see it bounces. Load that round in, and then you load your magazine, and again, it just holds 7 rounds. And so it gives you an 8-round capacity. But of course, you can obviously rack that slide. If you have weaker hand strength, it's definitely better to go ahead and tip that barrel up and be able to load it. Sights are pretty rudimentary and just low profile, and this is definitely just a self-defense option. I like the serrations on the front and back, which give you a little more to grip. And of course, these grips are the standard Beretta grips with the texturing on the side. But this is a very popular firearm, and of course, with that safety, it's a little bit larger than the 21 or the 950. Now, it is double action, so I can pull that trigger with the hammer down, or I can cock it in single action and fire it that way, and then all the rest of the rounds will fire when you pull the trigger. And typically, the Beretta Tomcat runs a little more, around the $500 range. I got this at Gun Zone Deals, and they have the Enox and the Bruton finish. And this also comes in the covert model with the threaded barrel. So if you want to go with really covert, that's a great way to do it. Now, the Beretta Model 86 is a tip-up barrel, and it was introduced as 32 ACP or 380 ACP. These are very difficult to come by. It's 8 rounds plus 1. They were introduced in 1976, and it has a 4.37-inch barrel. These are double single action, but Beretta discontinued these a number of years ago, and they are really coming in at a premium if you try to find one. So guys, a lot of fun to collect, a lot of fun to take to the range. Definitely low recoil. These are considered mouse guns for sure, or pocket pistols, even under the Beretta website. And going since 1952, I mean, these have been around for a long time, and then they've just continued to add to it and up their game. Of course, ending with the Beretta Model 3032 Tomcat. But again, some of these are still in production. Some of these have gone to the wayside and become collector's items. And guys, just building up your 401g. Guys, you're going to have to find them on Gunbroker, and they're not going for cheap prices. I mean, these are very sought after. They're very collectible. And over the years, I pick them up as I see something that I'm missing in my collection. And while I'm not really a big collector of firearms, I usually buy them to shoot for self-defense. But with these little Berettas, I do collect them, and they're just a lot of fun. And as far as self-defense, they're better than a sharp stick. Well, maybe not the 22 short. Now, Gun Zone Deals has sent me a couple of these Berettas, and I really appreciate those guys allowing me to bring a lot of different guns to you guys. But if they don't have it, I'm on Gunbroker. Now, we really appreciate Sportsman's Guide for being one of our sponsors. And they give a $20 off every $100 or more purchase using Sootch, no 00. And they have all kind of outdoor related, camping, hiking, firearms, you name it, they've got it. But one thing that I use them probably the most for is their military surplus from around the world. And if you join their buyers club, you get a better price and you get free shipping on most items. So check out Sportsman's Guide. It's a great resource. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. While there are some that are, while the Tomcat, and it's, well, this one again holds 7 rounds. Okay, let's start that over. Good gosh. But you know, if you are a little bit recoil, if you need a little more, I can pull that hammer and fire the pistol. Oops. Now the Beretta Model 21A Bobcat is only offered in 22 ACP. There's no 22 ACP.